Today, I am going to be discussing additional VA compensation that you can receive for your dependents. I'm also going to be discussing who is eligible and who does the VA define as a dependent. So stick around. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD89 at VA Claims Consulting, United States Army veteran, and retired VA rating specialist. Today's video, I am going to be discussing additional VA compensation that you can receive for your dependents, who's eligible, and who does the VA define as dependents. Also, I'm going to be going over a couple FAQs on the VA's website as it pertains to this topic. Okay. So today I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to take you to the VA's website. So it's best that you view this either on your iPad, laptop, or PC. If you're on your phone, you may not be able to see the screen, but you'll be able to hear me. Okay. So let's go out to the VA's website. Okay, this is the VA's website. I just went to va.gov and I did a search for something else, and I came across this dependent information. I thought it could be very valuable because some veterans don't know that they can receive compensation for their dependents. Okay, but there is certain criteria that you have to meet. So go to va.gov/view-change-dependents. Or one thing that I normally do when I'm searching the VA's website, I'll come here in this search window and I'll type in a topic that I'm looking for. Okay. And I'll type it in, do the search, and it's like Google. Okay. All right. So as you can see, it says view or change dependents on your VA disability benefits. All right. But we're going to scroll down because we're going to take our time and go through some of these topics. Okay. So it says, am I eligible for additional VA disability compensation for one or more of my dependents? Click on it. Takes us here. Am I eligible for additional VA disability compensation for one or more of my dependents? All right. So you have to meet both of these criteria that's in the bullet comments. You're eligible for VA disability compensation for your dependents. I'm sorry, you're eligible for VA disability compensation, and you have a combined disability rating of at least 30%. Okay. So you have to be at 30%. If you're at 0, 10, or 30, and what they're saying, your overall disability rating has to be at 30%. Not one condition. Now, that one condition could be at 30%, but if you're at 0, 10, or 20, you do not qualify. Your overall rating has to be at 30%. And if you got, let's say, PTSD or migraines at 30%, you do qualify. Okay. Just overall rating of 30%. All right. Adding a dependent may make you eligible to receive a higher compensation payment. Right. So that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to show you later on the VA's compensation rate table where it breaks it down, where if you are a veteran, a lone veteran with a child, veteran with spouse, veteran with one parent, one child, I'm going to show you where to go find that actual dollar amount. Okay. Let's keep going. Who does the VA consider a dependent? This is some very valuable information. Okay. So it says a dependent is a spouse, and also they state they recognize same-sex and common law marriages. All right. So I would say under common law, some states may give you paperwork saying that you are common law married. If that's the case, when you get ready to add that dependent, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have that paperwork. Okay. A parent, if you are directly caring for them and their income and net worth are below a certain amount. Now, you would have to go out to the VA's, I would say the M21 manual reference, to figure out that income. Okay. Because I didn't see it on their website. Okay. And I don't know why they didn't add it. It just would have been simple, to add it. Maybe they didn't because I'm pretty sure it changes from time to time with the cost of living allowance, right? Okay. So moving right along, an unmarried child, including an adopted child, stepchild, who meets one of the eligibility requirements listed below. They're under 18 years old, or they're between the ages of 18 and 23 years old and enrolled in school full time. And I'll go through these and explain, or they became permanently disabled before they turn 18. Okay. So they have to be under 18. So if you get married and your spouse's child is 24 years old, they don't qualify. Okay. Now, if they are 23 years old and they're enrolled in school, they do qualify. Now, if they're still in high school, which I hope that they're not, but let's just say they're 18, they're still in high school. Okay. There are some people that are in high school at 18. Now, you have to get some paperwork from the school to show that they're still enrolled. All right. So if they're on the ward and you get paid for them at 18, they graduate high school, and then they go to college. They can still be on your award, meaning you get paid for them, but you have to show that they're enrolled in college. Now, you cannot get compensated monthly for them and they receive their Chapter 35 benefits, meaning the federal government, if you're 100% permanent total, if you're 100% permanent total, the veterans dependents can receive that monthly stipend from the federal government. Okay. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're 100%, it might be the greater benefit to let them get that monthly stipend because that monthly stipend is, I want to say, around 1,400, maybe a little bit over if they're going to school full time. And I'll show you some of the monthly compensation rates additionally that individuals get paid for when they have dependents on their ward. All right. Now, the last bullet comment, they became permanently disabled before they turned 18. Okay. So what they're talking about here is helpless child. And again, I don't know why they didn't add a note to explain it, but this is what they're talking about, helpless child. So I've done some of those cases, and a lot of the parents, for some reason, veterans, they wait, for whatever reason, after the child is over age 18 and say, hey, I want to add my dependent, they're a helpless child. So you have to prove that they were helpless before the age of 18. So if they're like 25 or something like that, you have to show paperwork that they were helpless before they turn 18. And that's just a matter of getting something from the doctor. And again, go to the M21, you do a search for helpless child, it'll tell you the requirements and then some examples that you can send in. Okay. But I wanted to point out one other thing before I move on. In these bullet comments, after the first one and second one, it says or. So you don't need to meet all three criteria, one of the three that they recognize these individuals as dependents. Okay. When should I add a dependent to my benefits? So let's just look and see what they say. If you haven't yet filed a claim for disability compensation, you can file for an additional compensation for a dependent at the same time as you file your original claim for disability compensation. Now, so what they're saying there, let's just say, and then it goes on to say, yeah, if you receive a combined disability rating of at least 30%. So if this is your first claim that you're filing, you can still complete a dependent form and send it in with that claim, especially if you're claiming multiple conditions that you think that will get you to that 30% threshold that we're talking about. Because if it does, they'll go ahead and add the dependent. You get back pay at the same time instead of having to do it later. Okay. So for the vets out there that's never filed a claim, you file a claim and it's for multiple things, and you feel that you got a good case and you can get at least 30% higher, fill out their dependent form and send it in at the same time. Okay. Moving right along, I want to cover a couple more things. And here they say how to view current dependents. Again, you come to va.gov and you log in. And I must say, the VA has done an awesome job building out their website. I'm finding myself spending more time on the VA's website and just searching, different topics and seeing what they have. They spend a lot of time updating the website, and they've done an outstanding job. Okay, but they still have work to do on the VA claims process. All right. How to add a dependent to your VA disability benefits. Now, again, they're telling you here you can go online and do it. Okay. I know years ago, I think I did mine on, my oldest, I did in writing because they didn't have e-benefits. Okay. Once I got married and had children, then I went to e-benefits. Okay. But if you go to e-benefits, click dependents, add, they're going to bring you to the VA's website. Okay. And they encourage you to do it online, and it's faster. Okay. Let's keep going. I know there's something else I want to show you. But if you decide to send the form in, this is the form, the dependent form, okay? VA form 21-674. You can come to the VA's website here and download it, or you can go, the VA has a form link, okay? And I suggest, regardless of what forms you need, always go to the VA's website and type in the form name or number that you need and get it from their website. Do not go to a non-VA website and get any form. And here's why. Because, okay, because that form could be outdated. As long as you get it from the VA's website, it's the update form. Okay. Now, I'm sorry. The VA form 21-674 is not the dependent form. It's for attending school full time. Okay. So this is if you're going, if your child is 17 or 18 or 17, let's say they're 17, and on that in that notification letter, it'll say, oh, this dependent is going to drop off at this time because they turn 18. You want to send this form in, this approval of a school attendance showing that they're still enrolled in school so they don't drop off. Okay. All right. And here's the form for the dependent parent. Okay. VA form 21-P-509. All right. And they give you, if you want to mail it in. All right. And then they just go through some more questions. Okay. Can I file a claim for additional disability compensation for a child or spouse by mail? Yes. Okay. They give you an explanation. What should I do if I already submitted a paper form for additional disability compensation for a child or spouse and still waiting on the decision? Let's see what they say. You can file your claim again online for a faster decision. Okay. Like I stated earlier, do it online, it goes a little bit faster. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all these questions, but I'll just leave it up for a few seconds so you can see it. But one thing I want to point out right there where it says, what happens if I get divorced or need to remove a dependent? You can submit a request through eBenefits asking us to stop paying additional disability compensation for your spouse or child. Now, if you get divorced, you want to call and call, write, and let the VA know, hey, I'm no longer married. I got a divorce. Remove her. Because I've seen some veterans that didn't do it. 2 years later, their ex-spouse calls in and say, hey, I don't know if the veteran told you, but we're no longer married. The VA checks it. They send in a divorce decree. Guess what? You owe 2 years of back pay. All right. So don't let that happen to you. If you get divorced and on one day and you get married the next day, there's no stopping dependent pay, but as long as you show that marriage certificate showing that date, right? But something to keep in mind. All right. Now let's go to the VA's. This is the VA's 2003 veterans disability compensation rates. Okay. Now I'm not going to go through all these. I just want to show you the payouts. Okay, when they have dependents, parents and all that stuff. All right. So we're looking at the 100% veteran alone, no dependents, 3621. With spouse, no parents or children, 3823. With spouse and one parent, no children, 3985. With spouse and two parents, no children, 4148. $4,148. Okay. So then they go on and they give more information as it pertains to the dollar amount. Okay. And then down here at the bottom, I saw something really cool. Okay. So here, if the child is under 18, for each additional child under age 18, they give them $70. Okay. So there's a lot of information out there on the VA's website. And like I stated earlier, they've done an outstanding job updating that information. Okay. But they still have a lot of work to do on the claims process side of the house. All right. So, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.